Hey, this is James from My Take on Reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Emily and Kobe and the crazy relationship that the two of these people have. Now, the first things first, let's talk about how Kobe is pretty much a follower when it comes to his friend Temperature. What kind of ridiculous name is Temperature to start? As a grown man, I cannot call another grown man Temperature. I just can't do it. I can't call him Temperature. I can't call him Hot Boy. I can't call him Cold. I can't call him Chill Willie. None of that stuff. So that's off the rip. It's just weird for me that as a grown person, everybody's sitting around calling this guy Temperature. I would never do it. I'd have to call him by his whatever name he had to begin with. I don't even think Kobe knows his real name. That's how ridiculous that whole thing is. But Temperature presents a very interesting move for Kobe because Kobe presents himself as a strong African man who's going to come in and lead the family. But you can't be a leader if you're a follower. He's following behind his friend Temperature in what he says. He's influencing him, basically telling Kobe the things that he wants to hear so that he feels more important in this situation. But the reality of it is, Kobe, if you want to be that man, then you have to take that responsibility. If you're going to take the role of the supreme leader with no questions and everything you say guaranteed has to happen because you're the man and she's the woman and just by sheer genetics you're somehow superior, then you have to be willing to take on all the weight that comes along with that position, which you are in no position to do. You can't be the man of the house and you're not making any of the money. Just, and it's always funny to me that the very people who sit there and talk about traditional this and traditional that, traditionally, if you're going to say that a woman has to be relegated to staying in the home and raising the children, then you have to provide 100% care, household, shelter, food, everything, so that woman, the only thing she has to worry about is taking care of the household. In this case, you're nowhere near that. So why would you even pretend that that's even a possibility? Which it is not. The second thing is, it never occurred to Kobe that you might have a friend who apparently knows so much because he's been here for over a year and he understands American people and American culture and American women so well that he thought that it was going to go over if he sat there and made demands on your behalf to the people who are providing for you, Kobe. He might be saying things that are going to jeopardize your situation and sabotage your situation. There's an old Harry Houdini saying, "It's not enough that I win, but all others must fail." And in that situation, it's not enough that I'm in America, but you need to be back in Africa so that you can appreciate that I'm in America and how much I've accomplished. And even in that situation, if you really look at it and really think about it, Temperature's in a situation where he's probably here on a work visa or some kind of temporary visa. And Kobe is here on the K1 visa. He has to go to work every day, Temperature. He has to provide for himself. He has to take care of himself. He has to check in. And there's a very strong possibility that at the end of his term, he has to go back. Kobe, you're in a situation where you're with Emily. Her family is taking care of you for the most part. And you may stay here forever. You may die here. Your kids will be Americans. So you have more to lose. Which is a thing that my dad was a Marine. He had a friend and they were granted leave. So they were going to go out for the evening on leave, but they had inspection the next day. Now, my dad, seeing that this guy was who he was and that he was going out and he was trying to have a good time, and my dad wanted to go out with him and have a good time too, so he went out with him. And they both stayed out late drinking and carousing and doing what, Marines do in foreign places and foreign bases and ports. Did what they do. He got back. Then he had to sit up all night getting himself ready for the inspection. But as it turns out, the guy that he went out with had all new stuff in his Foot Locker. So all his shirts, pants, everything. He had a whole new set of everything. Just so he had stuff that was already prepared for his inspections. And the other stuff he hid, like his normal everyday stuff, he just hid. So he always, did well during the inspections. My father didn't know that. And he had to sit up all night. And one of the things that he taught me from that situation, he learned from that situation and he passed on to me, and I guess I'm now passing it on to you, is that even though you're in similar situations, you're not all the time in the same situation. You might be going through similar events together, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are the same as the person sitting next to you. You have to appreciate your situation and the complexities of the situation that you have. In Kobe's situation, he has to appreciate that his father-in-law is the one providing him the opportunity to be here. Under no stretch of the imagination can we pretend that Emily is making enough money as a part-time nanny to where she can take care of herself, take care of her son, and then bring somebody else here, have the bankroll and income to be able to bring somebody else here from a foreign country. Her father, at minimum, co-signed the paper so that she could bring him here, and most likely, he's the one that's actually financially responsible for Kobe once he gets here. So with all that being said, he's not the person that you want to insult at a dinner that he's probably paying for, to celebrate a marriage that he's paying for, on a ticket and visa that he's paying for. Father's not getting anything from this exchange. The one thing I would share with Kobe, take time to appreciate your situation, grow up a little bit, and try to understand. I get the fact that you come from a different country and you have different cultures, but when you're talking about coming here to the United States and dealing with an American who was born here, and this is the person that you say you're in love with, yes, she should appreciate your culture, but you also have to appreciate her culture. Temperature is probably going to let it slip that Emily is pregnant. And they're going to have to eat that and then try to talk to the parents. And the father's going to lose his mind. But it's going to be a disaster. And to be honest with you, I'm here for it. Because, hey, what else are we going to do, right? As far as that goes, look, that's my take. I'm James. This is my take on reality. And I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I